We started climbing and we flew probably 3-4 minutes. The pilot turned to me and he said, "We're going in the clouds and I can't fly in clouds. They make me pass out." And we go right up into the clouds and he looks at me and his eyes roll back in his head and he passes out. And my friend in the back seat said, "We're dead, aren't we?" I said, "There's a very good chance of that, yes." But there was a radio right there and I handed him the microphone and I said, "Start asking for help." So he's in the back seat reaching up and he said, "Hello, hello." And somebody answered back, "Hello, hello. Don't you guys know proper radio etiquette?" And I said, "Give it to me." I said, "We don't know nothing. Tell them we're in an airplane with a passed out pilot and we don't know how to fly this plane." And he said, "I'm going to get Anchorage Emergency for you. And Anchorage Emergency will be the people that can maybe help you." After about 5 minutes, Anchorage came on, said, "We understand you have a passed out pilot. And those of you do not know how to fly that plane." We said, "That's right." And I'll never forget what this man at Anchorage said. He said, "My job is to get you home safe." But he said, "Here's the deal. If you want me to get you home safe, you got to promise me you'll obey my voice." He said, "You can't see me, but I can see you." And he said, "If you're not going to obey my voice, you're going to die. It's going to take me an hour and a half to get you to Anchorage, and there's a lot of weather between you and Anchorage. You're in for a rough ride. I want you to hear me. I don't want you to look at what's going on outside. I don't want you to pay attention to the storm, just my voice." He said, "If you start watching the storm, you will die, but I'll take you through it." Finally, we went through the worst of the weather, but there was still more. And then the voice came back and he said, "Now, I'm going to line you up." He said, "I'm going to bring you in right down the runway. And at the foot of the runway are some lights, and they're in the form of a cross." He said, "Don't you forget this. The cross is the way home." Finally, he's bringing us down. We still can't see anything. And all he kept saying is, "Stay with me." Finally, just a couple hundred feet off the ground, we saw the cross. I landed the plane. The voice said, "Thanks for listening. I watch them crash and burn all the time because they won't follow my voice. They don't understand I'm the one who can see them even when they can't see me. Thanks for listening to the voice." Then they put us in a motel room and about 4 a.m, the knock at my door. And I opened the door and a man was standing there. He said, "Hello, David." I said, "You're the voice. You're the one who got me home." He said, "I am. Do you understand one day you're going to stand before him and say, you were the voice? You're the voice that brought me home."